some noise for the richest man in the world. Cheers and booze, I say.
Well, the richest man in the world who was called upon by Dave Chappelle to come on stage was booed over the weekend, again at comedian Dave Chappelle's event. Now, there's more to that video, but before we even get to it, here's the latest on why the boos were, well, honestly, well-deserved. Now, masquerading as a free speech warrior, Elon Musk has threatened to sue Twitter employees who leak confidential information about the company to the press, even though he has been leaking communications between Twitter management and Twitter employees to various people, including Matt Taibbi, Barry Weiss. That has led to some pretty serious threats of violence against individuals who used to be employed over at Twitter. I want to pull that up real quick. So Twitter's former head of trust and safety has fled his home due to an escalation in threats resulting from Elon Musk's campaign of criticism against him. A person familiar with the matter told CNN, okay? So on one hand, Elon Musk has no problem, putting out all of this, in all these internal documents that lead to threats and violence against former employees at Twitter. On the other hand, he wants to squash any of the speech that current Twitter employees might want to engage in regard to the internal matters over at Twitter. So the document shared with employees said this: as evidenced by the many detailed leaks of confidential Twitter information, a few people at our company continue to act in a manner contrary to the company's interests and in violation of their non-disclosure agreement. Non-disclosure agreement seems counter to free speech, but I'll continue. This will be said only once. If you clearly and deliberately violate the NDA, non-disclosure agreement, that you signed when you joined, you accept liability to the full extent of the law, and Twitter will immediately seek damages. Breaking your word by sending detailed info to the media will receive the response it deserves. Look, the one thing I'll say about this is it's the least surprising development of all time, especially when you take a step back and you look at the treatment of workers in other Elon Musk run companies. If workers tried to organize or unionize, he'd crush them. Any kind of speech that they would engage in that he didn't like, he'd crush them. He's got a history of doing this. None of this is surprising at all.
Yeah, so look, I get that the NDAs are a little bit apples and oranges to free speech in a public forum, right? And that it's different for a company and a government. Now, having said that, Elon Musk used to criticize Twitter before he owned it, and Twitter's not the government. And he would say, oh, you're censoring people is outrageous. Well, now that you own Twitter, you're censoring people, but in a different direction. And so there's the internal stuff, which again it's not perfectly, it's not a perfect analogy because yes, at a company, you're allowed to say these are the rules and you have to live within these rules. But when you're going around saying, oh, I am free speech advocate, and then you say, hey, don't any of you ever speak against me? Okay, then it gets a little hypocritical. But don't forget that it's not just his employees. We did a story about this last week, and I did an interview about it with someone who wrote a great investigative reporting piece on it. He's actually banned a bunch of left-wing journalists because Andy No, some right-wing loon activist, told him, oh, I think they're Antifa. And he's like, oh, good enough. Some rando right-winger told me that that I should stop their speech based on no evidence at all. So he just ended their speech on Twitter. He's a giant hypocrite, as always with the right wing. They always think, no, these are rules meant for you, not for me. Well, the only thing they care about is power. Now, back to Dave Chappelle. I think Kevin McGowan, and one of our members on YouTube, made a great point. He said, Chappelle asked the crowd to make some noise for Musk, and they did just that. Be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, and okay, so let me address that real quick. Remember, actually, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the Dave Chappelle event was in the Bay Area, so in San Francisco. And you gotta keep in mind that there are more workers in this whole Twitter debacle than there are executives, right? So Elon Musk is one person. He fired a ton of people who have families, who have friends, who have people close to them, who are probably furious about the fact that their livelihoods were destroyed by this guy who just came in and cleaned house without, and kind of did so indiscriminately, really, right? To the point where some of those people who got fired were asked to, can you please come back? Because we kind of need you to operate and have Twitter function to some degree. But nonetheless, I mean, you're in the Bay Area where that audience is very likely full of people who might personally know someone who was fired, who might have been personally impacted by Elon Musk's questionable leadership of the company since he acquired it. And so it doesn't surprise me that he got the kind of reception he did. What I'm curious about is whether he was surprised about the kind of reception he received.
Oh, I think that they were both surprised. Yeah. Because Elon Musk lives in a bubble.
He does, that's right.
And in his bubble, it's filled to the rim with right-wingers, but they're right-wingers posing as moderates and real people. So, and they're saying, oh, Elon, the way that you don't pay taxes is great. The way that you oppress people is wonderful and moderate. And the world, oh, Elizabeth Warren wanting to do a wealth tax, that's terrible. All the moderates agree with you. Make sure you banish the left and support and bring back Nazis to the platform, which he was very literal that he did, right? So when he sees real people for the first time and they boo him and he's like, what in the world? And Chappelle now has become like a cartoon character like that's taking a villain turn. And he's like, oh, rich people are awesome. And he only seems to empathize with rich folks. So I'm not surprised that he brought on Elon Musk. And I bet you he was shocked that Musk was booed. He's like, this is my beloved rich friend. What do you mean?
Yeah, and I want to also just address just like the whole Twitter free speech thing. Look, I understand the concern about certain news stories getting blacklisted on social media. I actually do think that's a bit of an issue when so many people do in fact rely on social media platforms to get informed, which is a depressing thought, but it is what it is. Now, if you genuinely care about ensuring that it's a free and open platform, putting it in the hands of one billionaire is not going to make the situation better. You're still gonna see censorship, it's just that it's gonna be censorship of a certain type, right? Or censorship that targets a certain type of message. And that's what we're seeing with Twitter right now. So for the very people who claimed like, no, we really do care about free speech, and even though this is not the government, this is a private corporation that is not impacted by the First Amendment, doesn't matter, it's still really important to protect free speech on this platform. Okay, great. I think that's a fair point to make, except advocating for a billionaire to take full control of it ain't the solution, not even close. And what's missing from the, honestly, anticlimactic reporting of the Twitter files is any mention of that, any mention of how it's actually counter to what you want with free speech to allow one person, one billionaire to call all the shots.
But they're looking for a daddy, and a daddy that'll punish the other sibling and give them all the advantages. It's obvious. I want to go to the rest of the Chappelle clip because I'm amused by it. Let's watch.
Weren't expecting this, were you?
It sounds like some of them people you fired are in the audience. But you notice one thing, all those people are booing, and I'm just pointing out the obvious. You have terrible seats, and I understand. All coming from way up there, last minute, non-planning, boo!
Dang, what should I say?
Don't say nothing.
Okay.
It'll only spoil the moment. Do you hear that sound, Elon? That's the sound of pending civil unrest. This is not even trying to die on Earth. Come on. His whole business model is Earth. I'm leaving anyway.
Thanks for having me on stage.
Are you kidding? I wouldn't miss this opportunity.
Are you kidding, Elon? I wouldn't miss this opportunity to kiss a rich man's ass if your life depended on it. Right, Dave? Right? So did you notice what he was saying about the people in the seats? He's like, notice where the boos are coming from. And he's pointed to the cheap seats. Like the good rich folks that are near the stage are cheering, but the unworthy poor people in the back are booing. That's what Dave Chappelle of all people has degenerated into. It's really pathetic to see. It's kind of like a Bill Cosby moment. So he didn't He hasn't done anything, of course, illegal or as outrageous as Bill Cosby. But here's a guy I really respect. I thought it was funny, smart, etc. And he's just become this shell of a man who's going around kissing the ass of rich people 24/7. And did you hear the other thing that he said there? Oh yeah, that's the sound of pending civil unrest. But he didn't say it like, oh yeah, because people are upset about the income inequality, etc., or the political corruption. He said it dismissively, like, oh, look at these poor people. Next thing you know, they're gonna do civil unrest. Oh, I do declare, Dave, how are your new billionaire friends? F off. And now here's this bitch, Elon Musk, on Twitter, explaining, trying to cover up his insecurity, but making it way worse. Graphic 4, technically it was 90% cheers and 10% boos.
That's so Trump-esque. It's such a Trump move to like just put your head in the sand and pretend like it wasn't as bad as we all know it was.
Oh yeah, except during the quiet periods, but still, that's a lot of boos.
There was a big crowd.
Yeah, it's a big crowd, 90% cheers. We see the video, you dumbass, which is a first for me in real life. You see that? He's in his bubble. In his real world, everyone kisses his ass because he's rich. He has no idea how many people hate him, okay? And then the last line is, it's almost as if I've offended San Francisco's unhinged leftists, but nah. No, of course, Elon, it's not you. I mean, you brought Nazis back to Twitter, but it's not you. It's the unhinged leftists that are booing you. And it's only 10% of the crowd. Everyone else loves you. Don't worry, you should listen to the ass kissers surrounding you. I bet they have your best interest in mind, including Dave Chappelle, by the way. Dave, you're already rich. What do you need to kiss Elon's ass for? But go ahead, pucker up. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.